not gonna let you fall.
Know me, I am Gabby. Welcome to my stream. This is a very special stream because it's an actual featured live show. My co-host Sammy J is going to be joining us here in the box in just a moment. She's right here in the chat. Make sure you guys hit her with a favorite. So if you're wondering what this is, so this is a show called In It Together with Gabby and Sammy. I'm Gabby. Sammy J is going to be joining us in the box. Whenever she presses button. There it is. There she is. I feel like my hair is looking pretty crazy right now.
I didn't know if you were ready for me yet. I was like,
I am. Oh, well, now that we don't do the Instagram stuff, you can just pop right in. Okay. Pop right in now. So hi everybody. I'm so happy to see you all. I'm Gabby. This is Sammy J. She's a licensed mental health therapist, and together we do the show called In It Together every Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we have conversations about coping with emotional, social, and psychological well-being. We promote self-development and self-healing and happier living through different topics every week that we relate to mental health in some way. And this show today is going to be a pretty good one, if you can tell from the Instagram posts and also my little bio thing for the show. We're going to be talking about time management today. Chelsea, hello. So glad to see you, Chelsea. So before we dig into the show, we like to start off with a segment called Tell Me Something Good. So I'd like to catch up with you guys and see what's happened the past week. Anybody have anything positive that happened to them? Anything that you guys like to share?
Finally washed my In It Together cup and I'm using it today. That's
yay! Woohoo! I'm so excited.
I don't know if Dee's here, but thank you. I love it.
I don't know if Dee is here either, but if she is here, say something and everybody favorite her because she makes these cups and they're like just all of them are so cool. So I'm so excited she was able to make these for us. Kim got a new job. Yo, congratulations, Kim. Woohoo. Chris has seen the show before. They're so cute. Ash, oh, I know something good happened to Ash today, but I won't share it unless she wants to share it. I was with Ash today and she got some great news. So Ash just got approved for a new house right by Lexi. Like literally they're going to be like 3 doors from each other. So yay, I'm so excited for you, Ash. It's so cool. She was so nervous about with everything happening. Just moving is just really stressful during COVID. So congratulations, Ash. I'm so excited for you. Yeah, so cool. Thank you guys for sharing. If you have anything else that you guys want to share, just let me know. Good news. Yeah, getting your cup is good news for sure. All right, guys.
So for those, I just needed to wash it.
Oh, are we talking about procrastination?
Maybe we might.
We might talk about procrastination today because we are talking about time management. But before we get into that, we're going to talk. Sammy's going to share with us a tip of the week from a mental health therapist, unrelated to the topic. Unless she happens to relate it to the topic, then I guess we'll find out.
Yeah, not so related to the topic this week. Wasn't feeling that creative this week for that. So my tip of the week this week is that if you at least notice, sometimes it's hard to notice, but if you notice that you're stuck in a negative thought spiral, like you're just going down and down and down this spiral, try to stop and refocus and find at least 2 positive things in your life and write them down. So one website suggests finding 2 things that either brings you joy, something you're proud of, or someone who loves you. So it could be kind of a multitude of things. And I know that sometimes that's really hard to figure out and find, but if you can refocus, your energy a little bit, that's going to help break you out of that downward spiral.
You probably made that tip for me, didn't you?
I actually did not know.
Yeah, I was having a little rough week, and Sammy's like, use your CBT tools. We teach people these things. I'm like, I know.
Easier said than done sometimes, right?
Yeah, that's true. Well, thank you guys for being here. If you're just tuning in, my name is Gabby. This is Sammy J, mental health therapist, and this is In It Together with Gabby and Sammy. See how that works? Every week, every Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we do this show and we have conversations about self-development, self-healing, and happier living through different topics every week that we relate to mental health in some way. So last week we decided to have a kind of a way to celebrate, is that the right word? To promote the fact that September is Suicide Prevention Month. We decided to cover some mental health disorders last week. So let's see if I can remember them all. We covered bipolar disorder, PTSD, OCD, major depressive disorder, and bipolar disorder. I think that was all of them. Or I said bipolar disorder twice.
Anxiety. I think you said bipolar.
Generalized. I might have. Bipolar disorder is very important, so we said it twice.
It needs double the amount of time.
Who was here last week for that show? Hit a 1 in the chat. I'm just curious. Who was here? I was here. I was here for it. Sean and Chris were the only people here to watch last week's show. Well, I'm glad you guys learned a lot. Well, this week, guys, we are learning about time management. We're going to have a couple pop quizzes. We're going to talk a little bit about how time management can impact your mental health, why it's so important to your quality of life. Sammy and I are going to talk a little bit about what our skills are for time management. Of course, we got our stats and facts for you. And then, guys, we have a really special guest today. We have Chris Casper, who's going to be joining us probably halfway through the show. We have a quiz we're going to do live, which if you guys have a second device, or if you happen to have a phone technologically advanced enough to have multiple apps open, you guys can go to my Instagram, which is in my name. You just press my name and it'll show my Instagram there. First of all, go follow me. I would appreciate it. But on top of that, in my link tree, in my bio of my Instagram, is a quiz that we're going to do live. And it's a really good tool if you want to see where you're at as far as your time management skills go. And it even breaks it down and shows you where you're weak and where your strengths are. And it's a really cool tool. So if I'll even just pull up let me just show you. I'll give you little instructions on how to get to it. But once you're at my Instagram, right in here, that's me. Press my link tree, and it's the first one right here, time management quiz. How good is your time management? So that would be really cool if you guys would take that with us. Absolutely. Okay. Well, we're going to dig right in here. Pop quiz, everybody. True or false? Time management is meant to help you organize and accomplish everything. True or false? Okay. Some of you might be hesitant to answer that one. I see a few false, I see a few true. So the answer is false. Kind of a tricky one, yeah. And the reason
with all the falses we got to start with,
I know. I was really surprised actually by how many of you guys got that one right. So false, and the reason why is because it's about creating time for what matters, not everything. So time management, it's finding time to get things that you need and want completed, and figuring out what's urgent, what's important, and what's maybe not so important to, kind of consider into your time management regimen. And time management, using it effectively can improve your quality of life. So how is time management important to your mental health? I'm sure you could probably imagine, but Sammy's going to inform us on that.
Yeah, so there's a good quote that says, time management is not about having all those things done. It's about having enough time for what matters most to you. By managing time in a more efficient way, not only will you get the right things done, but you'll also have enough time to relax, de-stress, and breathe more freely. So managing your time is about keeping yourself sane. It's not going to help if you get everything done if you lose your mind along the way. So
yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's one thing. I know it's like I try to schedule like downtime to relax, because I feel like if I'm not constantly doing something, that I'm like failing, which is really terrible mindset, by the way. Bad mindset. But there's so many benefits of time management. Obviously, it increases your productivity, your success with work, school, or whatever it is that you're putting your time into. It can improve your relationships. It can improve your mood, self-awareness, just your overall quality of life, if you have time management skills that you're going to be using. So if you guys are just tuning in, this is In It Together with Gabby and Sammy. I'm Gabby. This is Sammy J, licensed mental health therapist. And today we're talking about time management. So Sammy and I are going to talk a little bit about our time management skills. And we're not like, like super like perfect people because we're humans. So except for Sammy. Just kidding. So yeah, but we're here with the goal of all of us trying to learn our strengths, our weaknesses, and how we can improve ourselves when it comes to time management. So Sammy, what are some skills you use for yourself when it comes to time management?
So I definitely try to keep like a calendar of different things that are going on. So I kind of know like what is going on throughout my day. So I know kind of how to focus my time. If I know I only have one thing I need to accomplish, I can take as much or as little time as I want to do it because it doesn't really matter. But I have 10 things that are on the schedule for that day, then it's like, okay, I need to make sure I'm like breaking my time up appropriately and I'm not getting distracted. I know if I have a lot to do, sometimes I need to like put my phone on the other side of the room or eliminate distractors. So those are kind of big things I try to focus on, is just kind of knowing what's on my plate for the day, and trying to eliminate distractors.
See, that's good. Now, see, that's the thing. I do get distracted pretty easily. That's my weakness for sure. But what I do, so I keep a planner, which I think I really would wish that most of you would have a planner. I'm baffled by the amount of people who don't use planners. But I use a planner for my my day to day, like this is what's going on today. But I always get the planners that have the notes section for like each day specifically, and I usually on a separate notebook. I'm so oh my gosh, listen, can I tell you, my friend Chelsea in the chat will totally know what I'm talking about because we're like the same person when it comes to this. But I write down all of the things I need to accomplish, like just every single little thing, whether it's like eating to like getting the research done for the show to like I'm going to be starting classes again. If you guys don't know, I'm going to be going back to school, like kind of school. So I write everything down, and then it's funny because we'll talk about this soon, but I kind of put little check marks next to like, this is very, very important, it needs to be done today, and this is maybe not so important, and this maybe I could skip. I do that every night before I go to bed. I write down everything, and then I start putting it in time slots. I'm like, at 8 a.m. I wake up, at this time I do this, at this time I do this. And so that's, if I didn't do that, I don't know how many of you guys write. Do you guys write down your goals? I love to ask this question. If you guys write down your goals or your to-do list, hit a 1 in the chat. And if you do not, put a 2. I'm curious. Be honest. It's okay if you don't, but maybe you should consider it. But you'll accomplish a lot. Sammy doesn't write her goals down?
Oh, I know. I'm an awful therapist.
Do you put it in your phone or something? Well, you have a planner. You use a calendar. So, I mean, you write down something.
So this is kind of the difference, right? So this was bringing me thinking back to when we talked about goal setting. Was anybody here for goal setting?
We had a couple shows on goals. We talked about SMART goals last season, but then we brought them back up a little bit for season 2, the kickoff. So
and we had SMART goals, vision boards, all that kind of stuff. So we gave you guys facts about like how writing stuff down solidifies things and makes you more likely to do it. So time management is not exactly goal setting, but it is. It's kind of a similar idea of like, these are things I know I need to accomplish. It's not necessarily that commitment of I'm 100% going to do it, but it's at least bringing it into your awareness of what you need to accomplish. So they're kind of similar in that way. So I wouldn't say I like write down like, this is my goal. I just write down like, I see this client at this time and this client at this time, and I have a meeting here. And then, so not necessarily I would consider them goals. They're just things I need to accomplish.
A bunch of teeny tiny goals. I don't know. Well, yeah. I don't know. There's something satisfying about having a list and then being able to cross stuff off of the list. Personally, it makes me feel like I'm like doing something right for sure.
It allows you to like take a breath.
Yes. So I have another, unless there's anything else you want to add, I have another pop quiz for you. No, you don't have anything else to add?
Oh, no, I shook my head.
I felt like you zoned out for a second. You got distracted.
No, I shook my head. No, so I was trying to figure out where we were.
No, that's okay.
I told you I was going to be rough today.
That's all right. That's all right. There, It's all good. We're a team here. So I have another pop quiz for you guys. True or false? You should do the tasks that are the least important first because you can get them done the quickest. True or false? I'm seeing mostly false. So most of you guys are correct. Yeah. So good job. So again, if you're just tuning in, this is In It Together with Gabby and Sammy. I'm Gabby. This is Sammy J, licensed mental health therapist, and this is In It Together. We do this every Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We talk about promoting self-development, self-healing, and happier living through different topics related to mental health in some way. And today we're talking about time management, which is very, very important. And I think a lot of us might kind of struggle with it. So I thought it was a really good topic to cover. So now we're going to talk about how to prioritize tasks. Oh, no, we're not. Actually, we're not doing that. Sammy's going to give us some stats and facts first.
Before.
So yeah, you're right. No, I did the pop quiz early, but you guys did a great job on the quiz. It was super early, but you guys wouldn't know because you don't have the outline in front of you. So we can do whatever we want and you would never know.
That's why anyway, I was just rolling with it.
You were rolling. It's fine. Everything's fine.
Okay.
Anyway, stats and facts with Sammy.
Stats and facts. Let's go.
I always skip at least one thing. Sorry.
It wouldn't be In It Together. We can skip something, come back to
True.
So these facts are based off a 2021 study. So new. This is not old stuff. So first fact is less than 1/5 of people have proper time management systems. So that's 18% of people. So that's a pretty good chunk. 1 out of 5 of y'all. 82% of people have no time management system. They either use lists, emails, or nothing at all. So no actual system though.
It's a lot of people.
It's a lot of people. Absolutely a lot of people. So dealing with whatever comes up is the least successful time management system. I wouldn't really even say that's a system, but yeah, this idea of I just deal with it when it happens.
How many of you guys do that? You don't have to tell me, but you know who you are.
I'm sure there's a good chunk of you in here.
Some days I am that person, but
Depends on the day.
Depends on the day.
Yeah. 28% of people using this technique feel their work is never or rarely under control. I wonder why. There's also something called the Eisenhower Matrix, which I'm not going to tell y'all too much about. Gabby's gonna hook you guys up with that information. But it is going to be the most successful time management technique. And 100% of people using this technique feels that their work is under control 4 or 5 days out of the week. So for most of the time, they feel like this system helps keep them under control.
And I'll tell you more about that in a second after we do these.
An eighth of people never feel like they're under control at work. So that's actually 12.5% of people never feel like they're under control at work. That's gotta be a tough feeling to go through every day and feel you're at work all the time and you never feel under control. No wonder we have a lot of burnout in a lot of different fields. I wonder how much burnout would change if companies helped their employees with some time management skills. It'd be an interesting thing.
It would be.
Finally, 49% of people have never carried out a time audit to see how they spend their time. So a time audit is just simply kind of breaking down your day. How much time did I spend on each task? And paying attention to where are you spending your time the most. I would bet a lot of y'all are spending a lot of time on your phone, texting or checking emails, looking at social media, and it probably eats up a lot more time than you think it does during your day.
So I'm curious, how many of you guys have ever done a time audit? Hit a 1 in my chat if you've done one before. I'm not expecting a lot of people to put ones, but if you do, good job. Whoa, really? Not a single person in here has ever done a time audit.
Anna said she does. I think that was an I do to that.
Well, we're going to talk about time audits, with the tool that I also is in my link tree. We'll talk about it probably near the end of the show. But yeah, so Sammy mentioned the Eisenhower Matrix, which is a method that 100% of the people who use have success with it. It was created by President Eisenhower. The name didn't give it away. And we're going to we're going to give you a simplified version of this. So this might not make sense to you too much, but it's pretty much, excuse my chicken scratch, but this is pretty much the Eisenhower matrix. So, urgent and important, this is like, you need to do this today. You're urgent, not important, you can schedule this. Not important and urgent, you delegate that. Like you could possibly, like, for example, like Sammy and I, if I'm overwhelmed with something, I'll delegate something to Sammy to help me with the show. So that's like an example of that. And then not urgent and not important, you can just eliminate that. You don't even have to add that to your list. So it's just a way to kind of prioritize what needs to get done now, what can get done later, what you can delegate to others, and what you can just kind of eliminate off your plate that doesn't really apply to you. So yeah, the way that you do, if you don't want to do that, you pretty much just categorize things. Like I said earlier, how I like to list all my things that I have to do, and I kind of put them as like, this is today, this is scheduled for whatever day in my week, and this is not important. So urgent things, needs to be done today. So like, let's say I owe my electric bill today, and if I don't pay it today, they're going to turn my electric bill off tomorrow. That's pretty urgent. So urgent stuff is what needs to be done today, or you're going to get an immediate consequence. Now, an important task is maybe things that are more meaningful to you, like hanging out with your family or your friends, maybe you're helping your family member move. Exercising would fall into this category. And maybe things like if you owe your electric bill in a couple weeks and you want to pay it off early, that would be kind of an important task. And then not important tasks are things that are just really not important. It's not going to really make or break you if you complete it or not. That would probably be like going through social media, playing video games. Unless, of course, you're one of those people that makes a living off of playing video games, then I guess that would be a pretty important task.
Yeah.
So now, guys, who are my procrastinators? Because I, unfortunately, even though I write down this list of all these things I need to do, I procrastinate from time to time. I know there's a lot of you here, and if you are that person, there's definitely more than just Cameron, Sean, Anna, and Kim. I know there's more because a lot of people procrastinate.
Absolutely.
So sometimes I almost feel like I'm sure other people might feel this way, but sometimes I feel like I almost don't know how to control procrastination. It's probably my biggest weakness when it comes to time management. How do you control that? Sammy's going to tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, so there's a couple tips we have for that. So one is structuring your time. So plan your day or week by using a planner or using an app. So they do have apps for stuff like this to keep track. For shorter periods, use a timer or alarm clock. So if I am like, you know what, I need a break, I do want to scroll some social media for a bit, set an alarm to go off in 10 minutes. Because I'm telling you, you'll go down the scroll hole and you'll get lost. And 3 hours will go by and you'll be like, oh, I can't finish everything now because I just spent 3 hours scrolling whatever social media platform you choose. So yeah. Keep yourself on track by scheduling things out and then using tools to help you stay on that schedule, like timers and alarm clocks and those kinds of things. Another tip, break up large tasks. So if you're not able to do a whole task, like say you have a project that's going to take you like 3 hours, split it up into either different sections where you allow yourself to take breaks and then come back to it, or even over several days if you can. If you're not scheduling your stuff out, you can say, okay, this isn't due for a week. Let me work on it an hour each day and then I'll get it done. No big deal. But if you wait till the last day to figure out how long it's gonna take you, then you're not gonna be able to break it up into chunks like that. So another one is to create short-term deadlines. So this helps to make a habit of meeting deadlines. It forces you to get things done, and it prepares you for long-term deadlines before long-term deadlines being more manageable. Words are hard.
Words are hard.
Yes. So yes, this is kind of similar to breaking up tasks. It's creating deadlines for yourself. So it might not be your boss saying, hey, this is due. But if I create deadlines for myself, it's going to keep me on track and I'm going to hold myself more accountable. So lastly is avoid perfectionism. That's like, I think, a critical thing for a lot of people. So if you demand perfection, you might avoid doing the task. doing your best is okay. Remind yourself of that. Don't get stuck in this like, but it's not perfect mentality. I know that's really easy to say, but reminding yourself that your best is good enough. Yeah, and also giving yourself enough time to do your best will reduce your stress, which means you're going to do better on the test that you're trying to do. So we don't need perfection. We just need effort.
We need your best. So I thought this topic was also really good to cover right now because school's back in session. So maybe you're a college student. If you are a student, hit a 1 in the chat. I'm just curious. So maybe this will be a really good show for people who are studying right now. Cool, there's a couple of you. And if you have kids who are in school, I'm sure this could be beneficial to you also because, I know when I was in school back in the day, I probably wasn't the best at time management because they don't really teach you that in school, to be honest with you. That would be a really good thing to teach. So if you guys are just tuning in, my name's Gabby. This is Sammy J, licensed mental health therapist, and this is In It Together with Gabby and Sammy. Today we're talking about time management and how it can impact your overall quality of life. We're learning new skills, tips. We have some resources, which, by the way, if you guys are going to participate in this quiz that Chris Casper is going to do with us here in a few minutes, make sure that you press my name, go to my Instagram, follow me. But then after you follow me, press my link tree, and it's the first link. It's a time management quiz. There's 15 questions. It rates your, each question is rated from not at all to very often. And it's a really cool tool because it'll show you, well, first of all, it'll tell you if you're not doing too well, if you're doing okay, and if you're doing excellent. And it lets you know where you're struggling, where your strengths are. And it's it's a really, really cool tool. So I would recommend you guys, if you don't do it today or with us today, I would recommend doing it sometime. Especially if all of us could benefit from it, really. Alrighty, well, it is time. If you're here, you can jump in the box, and it's time to, first of all, I'm pretty sure Chris is the king of time management. I've got a feeling.
How's it going?
Hi, going well. How are you, Chris?
It's good to see you both. Thanks for having me on the show.
Thanks for being on the show. We wanted to get you on for a while, but this topic was like perfect for you.
But we'll see. Actually, I'm really not that. It's selective. It's like selectively good at my time management. And when there isn't time, you just take away things like sleep. So that's like what my time management skill is. But I took the quiz, but we'll do it together now, I think, right? So.
Yeah, I don't know if you happen to have a second device or not. I mean, I'm gonna plug your answers in on my iPad anyway. But it might just be easier for you to like see it yourself and visualize it.
I have it right here in my desktop.
Before we get to that far, I'm pretty sure everyone probably knows who you are, but just in case, who are you, Chris?
Yeah, my name's Chris. I've been streaming on the app since 2018. And I love live streaming.
Good job.
That's me. So.
Okay, well, we heard a little bit about how you feel about your time management skills. So let's take the quiz. So if you guys want to take the quiz, just go to my Instagram that's in my bio. You press my name and it's in my link tree, and you can take it with us. Second device or not, you should be able to do this with the live open. So the first question, and by the way, they go from not at all, rarely, sometimes, often, and very often. So the tasks that I work on are the ones with the highest priority. And I know that you have this in front of you, but I'll still show it to you anyway.
Yeah. I'm going to go with often on that. So if this, I'm thinking strictly professional here. Like if it comes to professional, my personal life, like today I was microwaving my lunch and I saw that my dishes weren't done. I was like, oh, I'll just put away the dishes while my food's microwaving. But they had sat that way for like 3 or 4 days. So like it was just my dishwasher open, just chilling there. I'm like, yeah, this is my 8th meal that I've microwaved. I guess it's time. And so, but when it comes to work, like last Friday, I had something come through and just completely shifted how I was going to handle the rest of my next 2 weeks. So like, it's different.
Yeah, I agree with that. Some of these questions and like if I were in a professional setting, I'd probably answer differently. So So then second question, there's 15 total. I find myself completing tasks at the last minute or asking for extensions.
I will go with rarely. In high school, often. Professional life, rarely. I like have a rolling schedule. I know what my deadlines are. Like with what I do, it's important because I'm like who I report to is much very scary. So I just make sure my stuff is good. He's not a scary guy. He's actually a really nice guy, but intensive.
He might be watching.
He's super nice.
Number 3 is I set aside time for planning or scheduling.
Yes. It's a daily thing that I'm looking at. So I would go with often on that.
Okay.
Often on that one.
Yeah. Often. Okay.
I have like 3 calendars. Well, I have, for example, I have a calendar for every network. I have a calendar for my schedule. I have a calendar for someone who reports me. I have a calendar for show rollouts. I have like 6 calendars. So like I like the things to stay very organized that way because if not, and then I have like an overall thing called HubSpot. But I'm not the only one attacking it these days. But the short answer is let's put it at the very often. I'm gonna move that to a very often. Speaking that out loud.
Now that you're saying it out loud. Yeah, that sounds about right. And then here I am. Like I have a planner, but I have a calendar in my kitchen, and sometimes it'll still say like June, but it's like 2 months later.
No, absolutely not. No.
Yeah,
No, like think about it. I mean, so for anyone who doesn't I work with the show content, and I'm pushing out 3 a week. Well, the content team is going to be pushing out 3 a week, and I'm sending that to a design team. And outside of the design team, there's the people who's creating the shows, and then we're having to schedule meetings of people who want to onboard. Then when they're doing their test pilots, and I need to know what's a test pilot when that's going on. So yeah, there's just a lot of calendars.
Yeah, I know you have a lot going on. I can't even imagine.
My brain for just even thinking about 6 calendars.
Seriously though, like for anyone but for me it's like really easy because they stack. I just use Google Calendar. So like I just unselect a calendar if I don't want it. Like I don't want to know what kick shows are going on, unselect the kick calendar. I don't want to know what Meet Me Scott Pop Zeus shows are on, unselect that. I only want my personal calendar for my work. Keep that there.
Okay, so you really take advantage of technology. I'm sitting here thinking like this man has like tons of calendars. Like
No,
I
mean, I'll keep like sticky notes for like notes sometimes, but no way. Go digital. I use Google Docs. I use Google Sheets. Because if I'm on my phone or I'm at my desktop or I'm at my laptop, it's all the same information all shared within that cloud. So I can just go right to my phone and go to my Google Doc and go, okay, this is what I have for this. Don't forget it. And then like type it in. When I get back to my desktop, it's already set. It's already there.
That's cool. I should probably look into that.
I'm just doing this one more time.
Oh yeah, D in the chat. Yeah, isn't this cool?
Those are sauce.
Yeah, definitely hit D with a favorite. She's awesome. She made those cups for us.
D,
so
I'm hitting you with a favorite for your crafts. I already have you favorited. All right.
Look at that.
I don't know. I just the next one.
All right, so we'll head on to number 4. I know how much time I spend on each task, I know how much time I spend on each of the various tasks that I do.
Yes. I know I keep saying yes, but it's because I use my calendar so strictly. So like I know that I have 1 hour for this meeting or I have 1 hour for the next one. It's when I get like to my not work day that it's like but my work day is all like it used to be awful because I would not have people record their shows and send it. So like I'd be like up at night still like watching shows and stuff and yeah. But I'm gonna go with an often there too. I don't I that or very I'm gonna hit very often.
Very often, okay.
I'm gonna go very often because I know exactly how long I'm gonna stay on that meeting and how much time I need to give myself extra in case it'll run over or like how to cut it short if I need to.
That is a skill I need to learn. So speaking of, number 5 is I find myself dealing with interruptions.
Often.
Really?
Yeah, like I said, I'm making my mac and cheese. Now I'm putting away my dishes. Oop, I got a message on Instagram. Now I'm doing that. Oh, someone's show things glitched out. Now they need to be re-promoted. No, my boss,
Are you calling me out? Everything you said just sounds like me and
No,
Sammy
that's just
contacting you every week.
That's a day in my life. No, I actually do that to it very often too.
Very, very often.
Very often, yeah.
Oh my gosh, okay.
But it's like myself. I will like self-sabotage and go, ooh, Bitcoin's price moved. Better go look at my charts. And then
Oh my gosh. I mean, at least that's like, it could be worse. At least it's Bitcoin. Number 6 is I use goal setting to decide what tasks and activities I should work on.
very often.
Yeah.
That's a very often.
Number 7 is I leave contingency time in my schedule to deal with the unexpected, which you kind of answered.
Yeah, that's an often for me. Just because a lot of what I do is like the same thing over and over and over, just at different amounts. So I know roughly how long it'll need.
Sounds good.
Um,
I'm sorry, do you have something else to add before I go to the next one?
That was it. That was definitely
Okay. Number 8 is I know whether the tasks I am working on are high, medium, or low value.
I'd say often. Yeah.
I guess I didn't know that I did that, but I put like stars and circles and check marks, and they mean like different things like to me, but other people would see that and be like, what is that? This girl looks crazy. Number 9 is when I am given a new assignment, I analyze it for importance and prioritize it accordingly.
So it's, yeah, I would go with a very often for that.
You're gonna have like the highest score ever on this thing.
No, because again, this is just strictly for like the work stuff. Like if it's, I have needed to vacuum my house for like ever, and I don't know, like if I have people come over, that's when I clean my house. I'm like, oh, people might come over, gotta go clean. Or my laundry is like something I do once every 3 months. I'm not exaggerating. I do my laundry like once every 3 months. I buy more clothes.
How many suits do you own, Chris?
I was just thinking either he's really smelly or he
No. I just have like
hey,
a
it's
lot.
live streaming. They'll never know.
No.
You can't smell me through the
They
camera.
can't smell me through live.
Right. No, that's why, you know how I say I wear cologne before every show? It's because I can't stand, yeah. No.
Oh my gosh, I'm dead.
Yeah, it's like certain things in my life I will take care of. I've had stacks of trading cards that I've needed to organize and put away, but I just don't do it. Like I'm over here just like, this is me typing. I think it's me being a cat, like doing stuff. But I strictly professional here, yes. But in if I had to say like my life overall, sometimes. So this like it'd be very different if we did this like professional versus personal, because I consider them two different things, even though they probably intertwine.
So are we gonna go with a happy medium and say often or very often?
I'll just go with often then. Okay. No, because I'm gonna say very often, because if it's a professional assignment, I know immediately like, no, this is what I need to be working on. If not.
You got it, Chris. Number 10. There's 15 total, so we only have 5 more left. I am stressed about deadlines and commitments.
Rarely.
And you got it, Chris. Distractions keep me from working on critical tasks.
Sometimes. Yeah. Yeah, like
Bitcoin,
I've been
man.
meaning to send, I'm gonna send out a bunch of invites after this, and I've been meaning to do that since yesterday. So like, it's definitely a sometimes thing.
Better late than never, man. Number 12 is I have to take work home in order to get it done.
It's pretty often. Yeah, I'm more usually working outside of like 9 to 5.
Yeah, I bet. I feel like you're working 24 hours a day.
Well, there's the thing too, is like I love what I do, and I only will have as much work as I set for myself. So like, if we wanted there, if I said, the goal is to have 20 shows by the end of next year, then like we would have only had 20 shows, and that would have been like the capacity that I worked at. But that's not like what I visioned for things. So I said, let's just see, how much gasoline we can pour on it. And so like that was the reward, was seeing something grow. So I didn't see it as like a workload that was detracting from what I want to do. Also, 2020 was very different, where people were sitting home all the time. And even though, still now people are still hanging out. So it kept me sane. It kept my plate full. I liked it.
Yeah, I felt like I feel like a lot of us work at home now. Number 13 is I prioritize my to-do list or action program.
I feel like that one's kind of redundant. Like it's one of the same as the other ones.
Oh.
I mean, it's just like you just shift to what you need to be doing. I know what I have to get done, and then I take the thing that's the highest priority, get that done, and then just move down the list. So like sending out these invites has been, I worried about getting the slide deck done first, before like sending them out, because streamers are going to see the Instagram message, not update their calendar. So it's usually probably better that I send it close to Sunday versus like on Monday when they're like, oh yeah, I forgot you sent the message. So I just wait to send it anyway. So I'm just going to go with an often on that.
Okay. If you guys are just tuning in, by the way, my name's Gabby. This is always backwards. This is Sammy J. This is Chris Casper, and we're talking about time management. And right now we're just Chris is completing a quiz for us about time management skills. So there's only 3 questions left. 2 questions, sorry. I don't know how to do math. Number 14 is I confirm my priorities with my boss.
Very often.
Yeah. And number 15 is before I take on a task, I check that the results will be worth my time put in.
Yeah, that's a very often.
Okay. All right. So for the record, the lowest score you can get is 15. The highest you can get is 75. And your score is 60.
Oh, I scored 5 points higher that time.
I took mine again too, and I scored like a different score, like by give or take like 5. So
we'll call it a 57.
57.
Either way, it's in the 46 to 75 range. So
yeah. So if any of you guys took the quiz with us, if you don't have a score as high as Chris's, don't like panic, okay? I knew you were gonna have a high score.
I'm gonna give you my personal life one real quick, okay? So you talk, and I'm gonna be off the screen. I'm gonna recalculate everything for my personal life real quick.
Okay.
I'm curious about this.
So what's cool about this is, so I took this quiz and I got a 58, and Sammy may have taken it a second time, possibly.
I did. I got a 51.
You got a 51, okay. So if you scored 15 to 30, it literally says ouch. That means that you're probably not super strong at time management, but but you have opportunities to get better, and it's cool because they give you these.
Sorry,
Sean, listen, Sean, we're good friends.
We're gonna have to talk about that, Sean.
Sean is late to work every day. Not that I'm calling you out or anything, Sean, but I'm calling you out a little bit. anyway, so if you scored 15 to 30, ouch. You probably need to work on your time management, and this quiz gives you opportunities to kind of see your strengths and weaknesses. 31 to 45, you're pretty good at times, but you still have room for improvement. And if you're 46 to 75, I mean, you're doing a really good job. but there's always room to improve. So for Chris's score, so if they score you out of 5 stars for goal setting, prioritization, managing interruptions, procrastination, and scheduling. So Chris, as far as this maybe more professional version of the quiz, you got a 9 out of 10 on goal setting, a 27 out of 30. I don't know how that works, I guess. 27 out of 30 on prioritization. 11 out of 20 are managing interruptions. So you got 3 out of 5 stars on that one. And then procrastination is 4 out of 5. Scheduling is 9 out of 10. So your biggest weakness is managing interruptions.
That's my own thing too, because I'll start things before finishing. That's my biggest thing I'm guilty of, is I'll like have things ongoing, but to me it just feels slower. Like not everything works in an A to B and now B sets off to C, you know. I feel like sometimes you have an A to an A.5 and then you got other things like that. And I do burn out. I do burn out quite a bit. But that's, you know, it's like what it is.
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of burnout with just in general. A lot of people do deal with that. So I have a question, Chris, because you scored like excellent for your time management. Were you always pretty good at time management, or is this a skill you had to work on?
No, I really don't think I'm good at time management either. And even though it says that I am, it's just I do what I need to do in order to make sure that the job I need to do is done well. And in order to do what I need to do well, I have to be organized with that. Like in high school and all that stuff, terrible, absolutely terrible with organization skills. But it wasn't until like my professional life that I felt like necessity is the mother of invention. So like I had to invent or figure out ways that were effective for me to keep myself organized. And so that helped me in sales. That helped me when I started my business. That helped me when I started at Me Group. That helped me when I was doing recruitment type roles. I feel a lot more of a sense of urgency when it's other people's time that I'm being accountable for. So like I don't ever want the ball dropped or like have the finger pointed like you dropped the ball on this. Like this can't move forward because of your lack of interest or like your lack of commitment. That's just like a no-go. So when in school, you know, it was only my grades that I was accountable for. I was dropping the ball a lot, you know, late assignments, showing up late to school. And one of my first jobs, we actually kept a tally marker for our daily huddle about when I would make it to work not late. And because I made it to X amount of days not late, we threw like I said I was gonna buy the team pizza. They ended up paying for it. Like it started out as a joke.
Oh, wow.
And then we like did the tally. But like that's how bad it was that I was that consistently late to work. But the thing is that I had, you know, a 40 minute commute and had to get there by like 8 to get early on the calls, you know, and I'm most productive like at 9. And then the next position I showed up at like 9 every day. I was number 1 for volume for recruitment on that team. I still did great in the sales role. Anyway, I'm super rambling here.
No, you can super ramble if you want. No, that's just, I can't even imagine you being like the person who's late to work. I could never imagine you being that person, but.
Oh yeah, 100%. Literally tally marker on our team huddle whiteboard.
I do have a question. Do you think that, so you said this is kind of like motivation triggered, like, so in your personal life, like if you're organizing an event for people, like it's personal still, it's not a work thing, like you're going somewhere and you're like, okay, you know, it's my job to kind of like get it all figured out. Do you think you still have that same kind of mentality? Well, they're all like relying on me, so I have to like not drop the ball? Or
100,000%. Same thing. Okay. It's how I am. I'm basically telling other people your time is going to be spent this way. So how am I treating your time? And I don't want to ever waste someone's time or make it not the best of what it can be. So the business that I owned is I owned Casper Entertainment LLC, which is an entertainment business. I focus primarily on providing lighting and sound for events, so like DJing and that kind of stuff. And most of what I was planning was like weddings. And there's a couple days in people's lives that they really reflect on. One of them is always going to be that wedding, right? And the wedding's one part, but the reception, the actual party part, that's like what people think about. The amount of pressure that I felt in that role, like if you want to talk about like feeling stressed, I felt stressed every time that I did that, but I thought that was good because I knew that I still cared. But when I wasn't stressed about working someone's event, I knew that it was probably not the right time, or like I was not in the right place.
Interesting.
So it doesn't sound like that, like a professional versus personal thing. It's a what motivates you thing.
Yeah.
So,
If it affects other people.
mhm.
Like my house being dirty, the clothes that are laying here next to me, it doesn't affect anyone. I'm the only person who lives here. So like, I don't care. But if other people were to be here, I got candles out, I got my clothes hung up, like it affects other people at that point. It just affects me.
I feel like that's most people. So don't feel alone with that because I'm the same. I just bought some candles today, some pumpkin ones.
Yeah, it's all on.
Well, and I think that's going back to that like Eisenhower matrix too, right? Like you are deciding what's important or not. It might not be what I decide is important or not, but you're like, that's not important to me, but it is important when other people are around. What other people are thinking and feeling around me is important. So I do think you're doing that. You're just doing it in your own style.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
True that. Okay, so the only other thing, Sammy, do you have your scores? I was just curious because I have mine. I'll share where my like strengths and weaknesses are. I'm sure you guys probably know because I already said it a couple times.
So mine are for goal setting. I got a 3 out of 10. We kind of discussed this going into that. I don't write down my goals. I have them in my head, like general ideas, but I can work on goal setting. That was my lowest one. For prioritization, I got a 24 out of 30. Managing interruptions, I got a 13 out of 20. Procrastination, I got a 4 out of 5. And scheduling, I got a 7 out of 10.
It's not bad. So I got goal setting, I got 7 out of 10. Prioritization, I got 27 out of 30. Interruptions, I got 14 out of 20. I'm really surprised with that one. Procrastination, 2 out of 5. That's my weakest. I'm so bad. I'm such a procrastinator sometimes. Scheduling, 8 out of 10. So I thought I was gonna get a lower score than I got, to be honest. I think that maybe we all do a little bit better than we give ourselves credit for when it comes to time management. But yeah. Sammy, is there anything else that you'd like to add or ask Chris at all? Or anything that you'd like to add, Chris?
I mean, I think you've hit a lot of it on the head. A lot of what I was going to ask is like, how does it affect you with like burnout and like your own mental health and that kind of stuff? And I think you've kind of touched on some of that stuff. So unless there's anything else you want to add to that.
I think the thing I'll add is I don't know where I heard it or who said it, but it is the phrase that at any given moment, a person is doing what they actually want to be doing. And like, it like took me a second to digest what's meant by that. And so like, let's say you're at work and you go, wow, I really don't want to be here, but you are there. And well, you're like, okay, well, you're not really doing what you want to be doing. Well, you want an income and you want security and you want these things. So you're putting the prioritization of that above the gratification of when sitting home and watching Netflix or like things like that. And I think watching Netflix gets demonized, but like there's a place for that too. I don't watch Netflix, but like I'll watch YouTube, you know? So anyway, the whole reason I'm bringing this up is because if you like find yourself reflecting and saying, wow, I sank my time this way. Why did I sink my time this way? Instead of beating yourself up and saying, you know, that was really bad or like that was not useful, like dig the layer back to go, well, why did I choose to invest my time that way? Like, what was it that what sense of fulfillment was I getting out of it? And why did I prioritize that for myself? Even if I don't know that it's better for me? Why did I prioritize it that way? And that helps me a lot. Just being cognizant of that type of mindset. And I adopt that for most of the things that I do. Now, if I could adopt that to getting back in the gym, that would be like really, using my own words for me. But yeah, at any given moment, a person's doing exactly what they want to be doing. Dig to figure out what your why is of why you choose to do something in a moment, even if you feel guilty about it.
I like that.
I to touch on that. So I work with clients as young as 3, and I hear this in the little guys too. They'll be like, well, I don't have a choice. They just make me do everything. And it's like, well, you do. You always have a choice. Always. Mm-hmm. You're choosing the thing that better suits you. You're maybe given some options, and maybe you don't like the options, but you're still making the decision. You made the decision to come in and talk to me, even though you didn't want to talk to me, even though you're saying mom made you. You made the decision to do it because you didn't want to get punished, or, Miss Sam keeps snacks in her drawer, any of those things. So always making, that's how I win them. Yeah. So I think that's good. I think that's something people struggle with at very young ages. So it's a good thing to keep in mind.
Cool.
Yeah, I like that perspective. That's really cool. Well, Chris, thank you so much for being on the show. We wanted to get you on here for a while, and this was I felt like this would be a really good one for you.
Thanks. A lot of fun.
Thank you. Of course, if you'd like to plug, you've got a lot of stuff going on in this app. If you'd like to plug it.
Sure. Yeah. So tomorrow you can catch me at 9 p.m. Eastern time for Suited Up. It's an interview style show where I bring on upcomers, people who are on and off the platform, get to know them a little bit more, find out what makes them tick, and some of their aspirations sometimes. Really interesting stories. That's Wednesdays at 9. Thursdays on Kick, we do Get Started, which is from I have no understanding of what live streaming is to trying to get people into an advanced mindset of the decisions and the actions they take within live. So if you want to check out that's on Kick at 4. This week is pause. Can you do like a fill or something? I felt like this one was a good one. So hang on.
Guys, catch us next week where we're going to cover self-care. That's our topic for next week. A little sneak peek into that for you.
Okay, so week 5 is here it is. I have it listed. We're organized, right? Yeah.
What
okay,
calendar is that?
Week 5 is how to grow and market. So on Wednesday, I'll be talking about how to grow and market your streams, ways to boost yourself outside of just going live. It's a common misconception that if you want to grow, that you need to be live. It can be counterproductive. We're going to talk about more why that is on Thursday. Also on Fridays, we've got a whole suite of great shows. The ones that I physically am on, we've got The Rundown, which is at 3 p.m. Rundown's the app announcement show for all of the platforms. So we go over contest results, app updates, tips and tricks, as well as top badge announcements. And the same thing happens at 4 p.m. over on Kick. So if you want to check that out, we do that there too.
Cool. Guys, if you don't know who Chris is, please make sure you favorite him. He's probably like the most popular person on this app aside from like Holly. Everybody knows Chris. Isn't that a show?
Yeah,
everybody loves Chris. Everybody hates him. Wow, I'm sorry, Chris.
Yeah.
Sorry. Didn't mean to hate on you, Chris. Well, thank you so much for being here. I'm not gonna lie, I was a little nervous. Felt like my boss was like in the show with me.
Very easy. It's a ton of fun. You two do a great job. You're very low maintenance on, like ever needing help or direction. You're very organized. So whatever you think about you're not being organized, I would point people your way and go, hey, check out that show because they are very organized.
Well, thank you. We appreciate that. Really, we do. All right, Chris. Well, thanks again for being on. Have a good one. Enjoy the rest of your week.
Thank you. Yep.
Thanks, Chris.
You have a great night. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Appreciate any favorites that you gave. See you later. And favorite these. Favorite them. Bye.
Oh, thank you. Guys, follow Chris's Instagram. He's trying to hit 10,000 followers.
Custom cup show. Yes.
Do it. Thanks, Chris. Guys, if you're just tuning in, I'm Gabby, and this is Sammy J, licensed mental health therapist, and this is In It Together with Gabby and Sammy. We have a few minutes left in the show, so we're going to cover some irrational beliefs about time management, one more pop quiz, and some steps to manage your time better to enhance your mental health, your emotional health, I don't know why I put physical place. I'm not sure why that's there, but it's fine. So what are some, I'm sure that we've probably heard these, maybe we think these thoughts about ourselves sometimes, but some irrational thoughts that we might have, me, the procrastinator. I work better under pressure is one of them. I actually am oftentimes say that. I might even still believe that, but that's actually not really something that's true. Sammy might be able to even give us a little insight on why that's not true, possibly.
Yes.
Are you calling someone right now?
No.
Why do
I'm trying to do something real quick.
I feel like I hear Sammy's got a really important phone call. Hold the phone. You like my fun?
Okay. So sorry about that.
I guess you guys
we ran past where I thought I was gonna be. Okay, so we are on steps to manage your time better.
No, the irrational beliefs about time management. I didn't write anything for you, but I was curious about your thought on that. People saying, "Oh, I work better under pressure." Like, why is that a misconception in your opinion?
So, kind of what Chris was saying, right? So, like, different things that motivate us and anxiety. So this is where I talk about, like, there's healthy anxiety and there's unhealthy anxiety, right? So unhealthy anxiety gives us, so if we're under pressure, if there's too much pressure, we're going to crash and burn, right? We're just going to be burnt out and be like, oh my gosh, I can't do this. And that's it. If there's not enough pressure, kind of what Chris was saying was like, well, I'm not probably going to follow through and do it, right? So that's where there's that, like, people think they work better under pressure because sometimes pressure can be kind of motivating. But I think people struggle to find the fine line there. So I think that's where there's that misconception.
Yeah, I've definitely used that one before. So the next misconception is I don't have control over my life. I don't know if any of you guys have that misconception about yourselves, if maybe you scored kind of low on the quiz, but I feel like you know this Eisenhower method or matrix kind of shows you do have control over your life as long as you kind of are prioritizing what needs to be done, when it should be done. Anything else you want to add on that one, Sammy? I don't have control over my life. I'm sure that you might hear that from people that you possibly work with even.
Yeah, I mean, I think kind of what we were talking about at the end of the interview there is, like, people think I don't have decisions, I don't have control. Time management is actually going to give you something to realize, like, you do have control. You can pick and choose how to spend your time and where you put your effort in and all that kind of stuff. So I think it feels that way. But then when we actually take a minute to sit and use some of these strategies, we say, oh, wait, there are some more options and choices here than I thought I had. So.
Definitely. And then this one, another misconception, we kind of talked about this too. I should do everything perfectly. So Sammy told us a little bit about perfectionism kind of working against us when it comes to trying to get things done. So yeah, we talked a little bit about that one.
That's one of those cognitive distortions, right? We've talked about that in the past.
We love cognitive distortions. It's my favorite thing to talk about.
Shooting yourself to death there. Get rid of the should.
See, I love that. Shooting yourself to death. I love that. I should probably write that down.
I will write that down is the better statement.
I will, yeah. And then the last misconception we have is I shouldn't say no. And we're going to talk about that in more detail after we have this last pop quiz, and it's a multiple choice. So which of the following doesn't help you manage your time? A is setting boundaries, B is prioritizing to-do lists, C is telling your friends what you need to do, and D is self-care. So which of the following does not help you with your time management? Yeah, you guys are right on the money. It's telling your friends what you need to do. That's not going to help you. That's silly. But setting boundaries.
I'm trying to be sneaky with that one.
You did try to be sneaky with that one. Self-care. I thought self-care might throw you off. Chris, Chris, you need to schedule some self-care, man.
Please schedule self-care, Chris.
You need to, yeah, and sleeping doesn't count as self-care. That counts as sleeping. So don't get it confused.
Well, if you're not sleeping, then I would argue that it counts as self-care.
Yeah, I guess it's true. So yeah, Sammy has a couple steps to manage your time better, to improve your mental health, your emotional health, your quality of life. And then I have one more resource for you guys to use. I highly recommend you use it. It's also in my Instagram in the link tree. So Sammy, what are some of those steps that we could take?
So I know you all get tired of me saying this word, but it's my favorite word. Set boundaries. Boundaries are super, super important. We did that whole show on boundaries. Please go back and find it if you did not watch it, because it's super important.
It's a good show. Ash was on that one, actually. I think Ash was on that show.
Yeah, was that pre together?
I think that might have been before. I don't know if our name was changed yet. You're on the boundaries episode, Ash. I think you were on that one, right? You were.
Yeah.
I don't know. We might have been Break the Stigma. I don't remember.
Yeah. Super, super important. You have to say no sometimes. It's okay to say no. If people don't respect you saying no, then they don't respect you. And you need to reevaluate their place in your life. So,
Truth.
Boundaries, boundaries, boundaries. Set boundaries with time, set boundaries with people, activities, whatever. It's okay to have boundaries. Next one is get a to-do list and prioritize. So we've kind of beaten that one on this show. Figure out what's important and urgent so you can schedule your week. Let's drive that in one more time. To-do list and prioritize. And then finally, self-care. Schedule at least once or twice a week, if not daily. Self-care doesn't have to be something that takes you 5 hours. It can be, I'm going to set 15 minutes to sit and like take a couple deep breaths and like reorganize my day and make sure I'm on track. That can be self-care. So it doesn't have to be anything long or extensive.
Yeah, next week we're going to talk about self-care on the show, so make sure you guys don't miss that one. We don't have the research for it yet, but we will. Time management skills, so good over here on In It Together.
We also need guests for that one, so let us know.
If anybody wants to be a guest, reach out to her on my Instagram. There's an email address. You can email us and we'll get back to you. Okay, so the last thing, guys, first of all, thank you guys so much for being here. I appreciate it. I hope that you guys learned something today about time management. A lot of you guys took the quiz. So cool. I'm so glad you guys took it. I hope that you guys were able to kind of see like your strengths, your weaknesses, and things like that. But on my Instagram, guys, the last thing, and I actually did this in college. So if you guys don't know, I went to Penn State and I am a licensed physical therapy assistant. And when I started the program, one of the things that she had us do was so it's on my link tree. It's a personal time survey. So basically, I would argue that this is a time audit, pretty close to a time audit, which none of you have, maybe, I think Paulo said he did a time audit. I don't know if I believe you, Paulo, but if you have, great job. He was the only one that said he did a time audit.
Oh no, Anna said no, she didn't. Just.
But a personal time survey, this literally takes all of the time in 1 week, which is 168 hours. And it breaks it down to how many hours are you in class, how many and doing homework, how many hours are you at work when you're clocked in, how many hours are you sleeping, how many hours are you dedicating to personal grooming and dressing and all that kind of stuff, how many hours are you putting into preparing and eating meals, into chores and errands, into travel to and from work or school, in person or formal socializing. So at times with, family and friends, going out to clubs or whatever you decide to do with your spare time. How much time are you on your phone, on social media or, video games, watching TV, whatever the other kind of stuff is. You add it all together and then you subtract. This is what it looks like. I know you really can't see it, but you take that number of all the time you spend doing all of those things, you subtract it from 168, which is 7 days, 24 hours a day, and it shows you what's remaining. So with that remaining time, let's say if you are a student like Kim is, or a student like I'm about to be here in November, imagine how much time you need to study and to do homework and to do, whatever it is. You like, if you have kids and your kids are in sports, or, or just the time to self-care. I think I took this, and when I was at Penn State, and this was mine. Let me see, actually, give myself an example. This is filled out before, maybe I don't have it on here. Oh yeah, I do. No, I don't. It's okay. I have a version of it where it's not filled in. But basically, I was left with 18 hours in 7 days, and that didn't include my study time. And if you are a student, it actually says here, like, depending on how many hours you are in the class. So on the one I did for Penn State. So an easy class credit is 2 hours per hour of the class. The average class is 3 hours per credit hour, and then difficult classes are 4 hours for every credit hour. So if you're like going to get your doctorate or something and your classes are insanely difficult, 1 hour of class time equals 4 hours of study. Maybe that's different for everybody. Some people might click real easy. Some people, like me, I need extra time. I take the time to go to tutoring and do extra stuff to make sure that I understand. But so if you guys want to kind of take a look at how you're spending your time, definitely check that out in my Linktree. I highly recommend it.
That's a cool tool.
It is. Did you guys learn anything today? Hit a 1 in my chat if anybody learned anything, or if you maybe learned something about yourself today. Oh, look at all that. Thank you guys so much for being here. I'm seeing so many people here. I'm so happy to see that. All right, guys. Well, Sammy, do you have anything else you'd like to add before we close up here?
I don't have anything else. Does anybody have any questions for me, for Gabby?
Yeah, so next week we're going to be covering self-care, and we don't have it actually completely. We don't have an outline done yet, so we don't really know exactly what's going to be on it yet, but it's going to be a good one.
50.
And my score is a 58. I don't know how. I don't know how.
I do. You don't give yourself enough credit.
I know. I don't give myself enough credit, but I just procrastinate. It's just bad. I'm really organized, but I procrastinate, and that's just my weakness, All right, guys. Well, thank you guys for being here. We covered a lot of different things about time management. I think this was a really good episode. I hope you guys learned something, and I hope you guys will continue to use those tools to help yourselves in whatever it is, professional life, if you're a student, or wherever you need that time management skill to be. Shout out to Chris for being on the show too, guys. Please hit Chris with a favorite. He is amazing. He's let's see if I can plug all this stuff. Tomorrow he has Suited Up at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Fridays on this app he has 3 p.m. on the Top Badge Official. He does the rundown where you learn about contests, new gifts, updates, and new top badges. So make sure you have him favorited, and also follow him on Instagram too, because I know he's trying to get that 10,000 follower so he can get like the cool extra little features. So do him a solid, follow him. Also, shout out to the rest of my gifters for the stream. We have Paulo, Ninja, Jinja, Cutie Brand, Ash Marie, Thunder, Chell Bellatrix, Oh Hey, Emmy, Cheyenne. Thank you guys so much for being here. If you guys ever want to be on the show or have any suggestions of what we should cover, maybe you have a streamer that you'd like us to bring on, please reach out. My Instagram's in my bio, my personal one, but the show's Instagram, which is inittogether_meet me, is in Sammy's bio, but it's also in my Instagram bio too. So either way, you have some options. All right, guys.
Thank you all so much. I don't have a nifty little list, so thank you for anybody that gifted me. And yeah, I'll see you guys next week. Bye.
All right. Bye, Sammy. Bye, everybody.